The final word a dying woman said left her wayward children on their knees asking for forgiveness.
But before we start, please make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell and smash that like button. We really appreciate your continuous support.
Life can sometimes be a cruel place, and sometimes out of love we keep the truth from those closest to us in an effort to protect them. Yet it hurts so bad when those people we're protecting are the ones who fail to see the sacrifices we do for them and end up thinking poorly of us. Today's story is about a woman who found herself in this position and was hurt beyond words. It all started with a 55-year-old woman named Berta, who lived in a modest house with her children. Berta's husband abandoned her 10 years ago, leaving her struggling to feed her 4 little kids, Juan, Carlos, Maria, and the youngest, Antonio. Besides playing the role of the mother and the father figure in the kids' lives, Berta took up several jobs just to make ends meet. Berta worked as a domestic worker, cleaning apartments and clothes during the day, and in the evening she swept the streets. The absence of Berta's husband took its toll on the family as a whole, as their lives were shrouded in an ever-present sadness. Berta did her best to provide her kids with all the love and care she could offer. Yet, having to work several shifts and be absent almost all days and evenings didn't make things any easier, as her absence was felt by the kids. The situation was exacerbated even further when the children reached adolescence, and the teenagers started rebelling against their hard living circumstances, as well as their helpless mother. Juan, the eldest, started asking about his father's whereabouts, and the reluctant mother simply told him that he was far away working to help support the family. Yet that lie only took Berta so far, as the kids soon realized that their father was never coming back. And infuriated by the entire situation, Juan blamed his mother for his father's departure and accused her of kicking him out of the house after she neglected him, just as she was neglecting them by being absent all day long. Juan went as far as telling his siblings that all that was happening to them was their mother's fault, and from there on things worsened as the confrontations between the mother and her children turned violent, and Berta was humiliated and even insulted by her teenage kids. The anger turned into hatred as the kids repeatedly told their mother that they hated her and would never forgive her for ruining their lives and making their father leave the house. Years passed by like that, and Juan and Carlos, Berta's eldest twins, turned 18. Their mother was so excited to celebrate her son's birthday, seeing it as an opportunity to mend the fences. So Berta bought a cake and went back home early to surprise her kids. Yet it was her who was surprised as she found out that Juan and Carlos were packing up to leave the house. And when they saw their mother entering the house, they coldly told her that they were eagerly waiting for the day they turned 18, to finally be able to live away from the woman they hated the most. The 2 young men left the house with their meager possessions, leaving their mother standing at the entrance of the house with tears streaming down her cheeks, as the cake box still cradled in her hands. The departure of Carlos and Juan broke Berta's heart and wounded her deeply. For a moment, the woman was emotionally paralyzed, as she didn't even know how to feel. She was loathed by her own kids, the people she loved the most. But Berta couldn't afford dwelling on that thought, for as long as she still had her 2 other kids to care for, as Maria and Antonio were still living with her and fully dependent on her. So the following morning, Berta woke up with a broken heart, yet she headed to her first shift of the day nonetheless. Maria and Antonio were also affected by the absence of their eldest brothers, and they both blamed their mother for that as well. As Berta was out in the evening, cleaning the streets to earn some money with her 2 kids, were speculating about her whereabouts. Maria and Antonio didn't know what their mother was doing out that late every day, and the only conclusion they came up with was that Berta had to be working at a bar or even selling her body for money. Antonio mulled that idea over for a while before finally going to his mother and confronting her with what he thought she was doing. Poor Berta was shocked to hear that her son thought of her so lowly and asked him from where he got that idea. And no matter what he said, Antonio was later on joined by Maria, refusing to believe their mother. Berta was devastated, yet she refused to tell the kids the full truth just to protect them. Months went by and the family could be more disconnected. Berta came back home late in the evening to a house where neither of her kids spoke to her. They didn't even share the daily meals together, and sometimes the kids would be asleep already, and Berta wouldn't see any of them for days at a time. The consequences of the family life soon affected the kids' school performance, as they started skipping classes and their grades were so low they were about to be expelled. It wasn't long before Berta was summoned by the principal of her kids' school and it seemed like she was directly blamed for her kids' poor grades and misconduct. When Maria came back home, Berta went to her and asked her why she was missing her classes and what the reason Maria's grades got so bad. Yet the teenage girl just gave her mother a disdain look and refused to say anything. Determined to get to the root of the problem, Berta insisted on her daughter to speak to the girl, finally burst into tears, and said that everyone back at school knew that Berta worked late at night doing inappropriate things, and now all the kids make fun of her because of that. Berta fell to her knees, unable to believe how bad things got, and she said that none of that was true. She explained to her daughter that she came back home late simply because she was out cleaning the streets, and she was out all the time because she was taking several shifts in addition to any side jobs she could find just to put food on the table and get them things. Berta said that she did that because she loves her kids, and she would work all day long just to see them fed and happy. Yet Maria simply refused to believe her mother, calling her a liar. Then she ran out of the house. The little girl went to Carlos and Juan's apartment, that was a different neighborhood, and joined them to live there as well. Berta took to the streets looking for her daughter for days, and she couldn't find her. And though she knew that she joined her brothers, Berta didn't know where Juan and Carlos lived. Berta missed several days at work to go look for her daughter around the city, yet with no luck. The whole situation weighed down on the poor woman, who fell in a deep depression that was shortly after followed by a stroke that left Berta laying on the ground unconscious. Luckily for her, she was discovered by her 9-year-old son, Antonio, who called 911 asking for help for his mother. An ambulance came and Berta was immediately hospitalized. Left alone at home, Antonio had Juan's phone number that he hid from his mother. So the little boy called his older brother and told him what happened. Juan, Carlos, and Maria immediately went back home to pick up their youngest brother, then headed to the hospital to tell their mother that they're taking him as well. Upon arriving at the hospital and presenting themselves, the doctor told them that the stroke was so severe that Berta wouldn't survive it, and so asked them to prepare the possibility that their mother would die soon. As the 4 kids went to the room where Berta was staying, they found several people already there. It turned out they were the people who worked with her, and when they saw the kids, they told them how hard their mother worked and how she always tried extra shifts cleaning the streets just to earn as much money as she could, and that they had to be proud of their hardworking mother. All the visitors left, and the kids finally got to stay alone with their mother, who was so ill she could barely speak, but she spoke nonetheless. She knew that she was about to die and that her kids are old enough now to learn the truth about their father's disappearance. She said that their father simply couldn't bear the responsibility of raising 4 kids, and when Berta refused to abandon their kids and go with him, he simply got into a relationship with another woman and went to another city to live with her. And before any of the kids call her a liar again, she told them where they could find the letter he left behind on the day he abandoned them. In it, he said what proves Berta's words. The kids felt so bad for their mother and the injustice they inflicted on her by blaming her for the departure of a father who didn't want them in the first place. Juan fell to his knees, asking for his mother's forgiveness, while the others just burst into tears, unable to contain their sadness and remorse. Berta had nothing but love for her children, and so she said, "I love you all and one. I've always loved you, and I'll always do so. All I want you to do now is to take care of one another and let nothing drive you apart after I've left." In the evening of that day, Berta left this world, leaving behind her 4 kids, who never forgot the self-sacrificing mother who gave them everything despite their hatred and contempt for her. A realization that they made too late, left with nothing to commemorate their mother's memory but love one another, show one another a love that they never showed to their beloved mother. If there's one lesson that this story teaches us, it would be to never judge people without really knowing what they're going through. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and tell us what you think about it in the comment section below.